Invasive species in Malaysia. Do you know what is an invasive species? Invasive species are animals or plants that are from another region of the world, and do not belong in their current new environment. They can be introduced to these new area by ship ballast water, an accidental release, and deliberately released by humans. What do you think about the consequences brought by these invasive species? These invasive species are capable of causing the extinction of native organisms, reducing the biodiversity, competing with the native organisms as well as altering the habitats. These effects can result in huge economic impacts and fundamental disruptions of coastal and Great Lakes ecosystems. The objective of today's video is to create awareness among the public about the invasive species in Malaysia. Furthermore, it is also aimed to share the impacts of the invasive species towards the ecosystem and the economy. Let us first look at the invasive fishes that can be found in the world. The cichlid species is one of the existing invasive species. These cichlid fishes feed mainly on other fishes and nearby algae. It is a type of freshwater fish that has originated from several Asian countries, Africa, Central America, and South America. These cichlids have a high demand in the fish industry due to their beautiful and brightly colored body patterns. Apart from that, cichlids also have a strong resilience towards the new environment and easily survive in an area with lesser water and low oxygen concentration. Next, we have the Oscars. Oscars is a species under the big cichlid family. These Oscars are a type of predatory fishes in the wild and have a variety of names including the tiger Oscar, velvet cichlid, and marble cichlid. They mainly feed on a large amount of smaller organisms such as catfish, crustaceans, and other aquatic insect larvae. In order to capture these prey as food, these Oscars will expand their mouth rapidly to create a strong suction to draw these prey into their mouth. Apart from the Oscars, the flowerhorn is also a type of invasive species that is also under the Cichlidae family. These flowerhorns, is also known as luohan or kiran cichlids, are some of the popular ornamental aquarium fishes due to their vivid colors. They are firstly developed by the ornamental fish industries in Malaysia during 1990. The increased popularity of these flowerhorns among the hobbyists had gradually resulted in the culling of surplus and deformed fish, by dumping them in the wild water. Some of these expelled flowerhorns has survived and disrupted the riverine and pond ecosystem, as they are aggressive and feed on the native fishes while breeding quickly. For the following invasive species, we have the Pangasius sanatuangse. The Pangasius is a species of freshwater fish in the shark catfish family. They are not an actual shark, however it is called so because they resemble the appearance and swimming movements of sharks. These adult Pangasius can even reach up to 130 centimeters in body length and weigh up to 44 kilograms. Pangasius is an invasive species that impact genetic diversity as they are a top predator in the marine ecosystem. The following invasive species is the alligator gar. The alligator gar is also a type of invasive species. This Atractosteus spatula is also known as the primitive fishes, or the living fossils. This is due to their morphological characteristics that are inherited from their earliest ancestors, including the spiral valve intestine, which is a part of the digestive systems in sharks. They also have the ability to breathe in both of the air and water. Their common name was derived from their resemblance to the American alligator, particularly their broad snouts and their teeth, which is long and sharp. Anecdotal evidence suggests that an alligator gar can grow up to 10 feet in length, which is also equivalent to 3 meters. Let's look into the invasive fish species in Malaysia. One of these invasive species is the peacock bass. The peacock bass, also known as the Brazilian tucunaré, which is a genus of large cichlids. In Malaysia, these peacock bass are important as food fish and game fish. This has resulted in the accidental or deliberate introduction to the regions outside their native range. These including the escape from the fish farms and the release by the hobbyist. Peacock bass may become invasive and will damage the ecosystem due to their high predatory and extensive feeding behavior towards the native fishes. Colossima bidens. Colossima bidens, is also known as the pacu fish, is a close relative of the piranha. Although pacu is known as a close relative of the piranha, however it is not aggressive and does not have sharp teeth like them. Pacu's abdomen is in red and rectangular, while its teeth is similar to our human teeth. It does not eat meat, but it can consume legumes, fruits and plants. Next, the ARAPAIMA gigas. ARAPAIMA gigas is one of the largest freshwater fish in the world. It comes from the South America and can grow up to 2 meters long. It is abundant in Malaysia because it is commercialized as an ornamental fish. Some people eat this fish because it is definitely a protein source that is vital to the locals. Lastly, we have the Plecostomus. The Plecostomus have several names, including the Suckermouth catfish, municipal fish, or simply called as the PLECO. This Plecostomus is one of the freshwater catfish species under the Loricariidae family. It is commonly sold as an aquarium fish to the hobbyists, and it is originated from the Central America and South America. It has an omnivore feeding habits and sometimes referred as the janitor fish. The reason why the Plecostomus is an invasive species is because it will consume the important food source such as native food fishes. This situation will then causes impacts towards the water ecosystem. After introducing these invasive fishes, do you know why are they considered dangerous? Generally, most of these invasive species brings the same consequences that is causing great economic and environmental harm to a new area it lives. In every type of the different environment, the invasive species thrives to outcompete the native species in the competition for food and other resources. This is because when an invasive species is introduced into a new ecosystem, it may not have any natural predator. Due to this, the native species will be completely displaced from its nature. In consequence, the balance of the ecosystem will collapse as the food chain of the ecosystem is changing. Hence, this is the main reason why invasive species are considered dangerous to the environment. Let us look into the impacts of invasive fish in the ecosystem. Invasive fish species are a major threat to our marine system. They are responsible of causing the extinction of native organisms, which then results the reducing of the native biodiversity. The main reason of this situation is because they compete with the native organisms for the limited resources such as food and respawning area. They are also altering the habitats at the same time as they will conquer the habitat of the natives. These can result in huge economic impacts and fundamental disruptions of coastal and Great Lakes ecosystems. The effects of invasive fish on native species project investigated the interaction between mosquitofish and the native Iberian species Aphanes iberis. In particular, the factors that influence these interactions and the wider ecological effects were investigated. Invasive fish also showed that the behavior of invasive species is affected by exposure to arsenic and aquatic algae, which was thought to reduce the harmful effects of arsenic by absorbing it, may in fact aggravating the problem instead. Eutrophication, whereby bodies of water receive excess nutrients, may be influenced by the increased aquatic ammonia from fish metabolism. In short, the presence of invasive species will definitely affect the original state of the native ecosystem. Apart from the ecosystem, what do you think about the presence of the invasive species towards the economy? Is the economy of a country affected by these invasive species? The answer is, yes, they do. They interrupted the management costs, research programs, reducing the crop yields, reduced employment opportunities and job losses, and of course, damaging the infrastructure. Is these invasive species really that bad? Well, these invasive species do cause both of the good and bad impacts to the economy. On the positive side, the increased number of the invasive fishes also directly increases the sale and economy. This is because they are being sold as the decorative fishes in the aquarium and they are popular among the fish hobbyists. Did you ever think that the invasive species can be prevented in the ecosystem? First of all, it is important for us to check the boats, trailers, our fishing and boating equipment. This is because they can be transferred by those improperly cleaned equipment. Mind that some of the invasive species can be as small as the bacteria are not visible to our human eyes. The next step of preventing the invasive species from spreading is to clean the transporting equipment. Cleaning on these equipment must be done at the disposal station to remove the plants or animals that might stick on the equipment. Apart from that, no one should ever throw and dispose the fishes, especially the ornamental fishes, into the local water, as they are capable to alter the ecosystem cycle with their feeding habits and reproduction rate. Instead, they should be brought to the nearest fish stores for proper disposal. The government plays an important role too in the prevention of the invasive species. Government should enforce the law of the exportation and importation of fishes. These laws will definitely be effective against the illegal transit of the invasive species into our country. As a conclusion, Invasive species have different effect towards the environment, social and the economy. In some way, they will disrupt the normal patterns of the native animal lives while creating the unwanted impacts. The species spread in abnormal ways and hence it needs to be kept under control to prevent any further impacts. We have come to the end of this video. Hope that this video helps you to understand more about the invasive species. Thanks for watching and see you next time.